unfolds where legends are born. I have walked through whispers of empires and stood in the silence after battles. But few echoes resonate like those of the samurai, warriors not only of war, but of a code. Before the skyline of Tokyo pierced the heavens, before the bullet train raced across the earth, Japan was a land of spirit, silence, and steel. From the shadows of ancient temples, from the blood-soaked soil of countless wars, a warrior class rose not just to fight, but to define an entire civilization. They lived by honor. They died by code. They were samurai, and their blade carved not just flesh, but the soul of a nation. In the shadows of Kyoto's imperial courts, power shifted not by decree, but by the blade. The samurai were born from this shifting ground, guardians shaped by chaos. Japan's story begins in fire, an archipelago born of earthquakes and volcanic fury. From this land of isolation and extremes, a unique culture emerged, one that revered harmony, yet braced for hardship. By the 8th century, the imperial court in Kyoto claimed rule, but beyond their shrines and silk robes, chaos reigned. Rival clans clashed in the provinces, bandits raided the countryside, power was fragmented, unstable. To protect their lands, aristocratic families began training warriors, bushi, armed retainers who combined battlefield skill with unwavering loyalty. These early warriors would become the foundation for something far greater. Not just men who fought, but men who embodied a cause. The land cried out for order, and from its soil, the samurai began to rise. To serve was sacred. The word samurai, from saburao, meant to stand beside, to defend, to honor. But this was not blind obedience. It was a higher calling, guided by a moral code. Bushidō, the way of the warrior. Bushidō was a fusion. Zen, calm, Shinto purity, and Confucian duty. It demanded honor, discipline, loyalty, and fearlessness in the face of death. And at the center of the samurai's identity was his soul, the katana. Forged with Tamahagan steel, folded thousands of times, the blade was both weapon and work of art. It symbolized the warrior's strength, precision, and restraint. To draw one's sword was a decision of spirit. To sheath it, an act of mastery. The samurai's world was one of paradoxes: violence and beauty, silence and fury, life and the ever-present shadow of death. The 15th century ushered in the Sengoku Jidai, the Warring States period. Japan fractured into hundreds of rival domains. Daimyo warlords clawed for control, and the samurai became both sword and chess piece. Clans rose and fell. Blood soaked the rice fields. Loyalty shifted like the wind. 3 names changed everything. Oda Nobunaga, ruthless, brilliant, and unafraid of modern tactics. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the peasant-turned-master diplomat and unifier. Tokugawa Ieyasu, patient, calculating, destined to endure. In 1600, at the Battle of Sekigahara, Ieyasu crushed his enemies and laid the foundation for a new era, one of peace and paradox. But in this crucible of chaos, the samurai evolved from regional defenders into national legends. With the rise of the Tokugawa shogunate, peace reigned for over 250 years. But what becomes of warriors when there are no wars? The samurai were transformed, from battle-hardened fighters to bureaucrats, scholars, and cultural stewards. They governed towns, practiced calligraphy, studied Confucian texts. They led lives of restraint, dignified, disciplined, deliberate, and yet their swords were never far. Even during peace, the code remained. Bushido became a guiding ethic, passed from father to son, not through combat, but through character. In these quiet centuries, the samurai helped shape Japan's identity as a nation of grace under pressure, of calm in the storm. But peace, like all things, is temporary, and distant thunder was again on the horizon. In 1853, the illusion of isolation shattered. American Commodore Matthew Perry sailed into Edo Bay, demanding trade, technology, and transformation. Japan could no longer remain a closed world, and in the scramble to modernize, the Meiji Restoration was born. Feudalism was dismantled. Samurai stipends were abolished, and in 1876, a decree banned them from wearing their swords. To many, this was unthinkable. The blade was not a weapon. It was identity, legacy, soul. Some resisted. In 1877, the Satsuma Rebellion marked the final stand of the old ways. Led by Saigo Takamori, the last true samurai, It ended in tragedy and silence. The samurai age was over. But can honor ever die? Though their era ended, the spirit of the samurai lives on. In the quiet rituals of martial arts, in the patience of artisans, in the devotion of workers who perfect their craft. Bushido remains in the DNA of Japan and far beyond. From cinema icons like Kurosawa's Ronin, to animated epics, to the business world where loyalty, discipline, and focus echo a 1,000-year-old code. The blade may rest, but the way of the warrior, never sleeps. In the long arc of history, few warriors shaped a nation's soul like the samurai. They were not just men of war, they were architects of honor, and in a world still searching for meaning, perhaps their code has something left to teach us. If the story of the samurai moved you, if their legacy still whispers to something inside you, then subscribe to Abstract History. I am Aurora. I have witnessed the rise of swords and the fall of dynasties. Their stories survive not in battles, but in those who dare to remember.